Here's why you should be proud to be doing Sentinel training and strongly consider joining if you're not. Other programs use long-term repetitive cycles. Sentinel uses 4-week varied progressions, while other programs often slip into movement redundancy or recycle entire training blocks. Sentinel stays true to the CrossFit methodology of constantly varied functional movements. That methodology also guides us in delivering intensity with minimal effective dose, where others favor volume, misrepresenting that as value for money. If you want a hands-off approach with minimal coaching or review, stay where you are. If you want level 3 trainers who care about your progress and test the workouts for you, reviewing your videos, offering coaching and feedback, then you need us. You need Sentinel training. Start your free trial at trainsentinel.com.
What's up?
Yo, what's happening?
Did you work out today?
I did. I did a workout this morning, 8 a.m. It was intervals, 75 double unders, 25 push-ups, 50 double unders, 15 dumbbell bench press.
Oh,
and then start again on the 5 minutes for 3 rounds.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was, I'm pretty, as a little guy, I'm pretty decent at pressing and push-ups and didn't think it would be that bad. It got pretty tough.
I bet the bench got hard. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I did the same. I did an interval at 8 as well. You're in Florida, right? East Coast?
Yep.
Nice. So, yeah, we were working out at the same time. That's cool, dude. We were aligned in energy at the same time in different parts of the world.
Wow.
I was doing our class workout, which was a running interval that Andy and I put together, where it was 4 sets of a 300-meter run into 8 sets of a 200-meter run. And you just go on a 3-minute clock for the 300s. So every 3 minutes for 4 sets, 300-meter run. And then at the 12-minute mark, every 2 minutes for 8 sets, 200. When we were coming up with it, I was like, I just feel like it should be, for whatever reason, I was like, I don't know. I feel like it should be a 400 to start. And I was like, we don't do 300s a lot. So let's try the 300. And it was, I don't do a lot of running intervals where I run max effort every interval. And that was as close to that as I have been in a long time. Like, I have done a lot of every 3 minutes for 8 sets, 400-meter run, where it's like rest 1-to-1. So I'm holding a really hard pace, but it's not max effort. And the 300s and the 200s here were max effort. And it was nasty. My hamstrings are smoked.
Any of those like running days, interval style days they're like the hardest workouts you can possibly do. And it's always funny because oftentimes affiliate members are like, that's all we're doing. We're just going to run. And I'm like, this is the hard, like, if you take any sort of approach to this thing, this is the hardest thing we'll do this week. No question about it.
Yeah. I love running intervals.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the class, before we start, the workout for people that I filmed last week was a triplet of running, handstand push-ups, and sandbag complexes. So it's 4 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 14 handstand push-ups, and then 7 sandbag complexes. And the sandbag complex is from Wadapalooza. You clean the bag to the shoulder, and then you do 2 squats, and that's 1 rep. Drop the bag, repeat 7 times. And I messaged Todd when I did this class. I was like, this is probably one of the worst classes I feel like I've done in a while. I had like a lesson plan that I thought was going to be solid for 12 people, and then 18 or 20 or so showed up.
Yeah, you had a big class. Yep.
And I'm not teaching a high skill progression is not something I would say I'm amazing at to begin with. Especially when, you have like such a broad range of different skill levels, and I have a progression for, what I think is going to cover all my bases in class. And I didn't in this scenario. So doing a better job, like, when it's a clean progression, anyone can do the clean progression with a PVC pipe. Yep. But if I write a handstand progression and people are kicking up to the wall, there's going to have to be alternatives for this and that, etc. So I just felt like it was horrible. And then I did a much better job coaching within the workout. Yep. This will be good. This is why we're here. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think to your point, this will be a great example. I'm sure any coach that's watching this or listening to this has gone through this experience where it's like, hey, I'm trying to teach this complex thing. I've got more people than I planned on. Some people can do them, some people can't. And to your point, it's like teaching a barbell movement. hey, I can give somebody a PVC pipe. They can do the same thing, no different than, somebody else can hold an empty barbell or whatever it is. So with that, I think a couple things based on what you said already. Number one, my recommendation and what we always encourage is when you're writing a lesson plan, of course, you're going to create the lesson plan and your standard template of like, what are the typical sizes of my classes and how do I prepare for that? So that's the 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
Always encourage as well, what happens if that doubles or triples or whatever, some weird thing happens? To your point, you end up with 20 people. Like, what is my game plan? And it doesn't have to be as detailed, but at least put a couple things down so that way you're not scrambling when that shows up. Yeah. And I think it also is valuable to do the same thing on the other end where it's like, hey, if I end up with 3 people in class, I'm going to have way more time than I expect. Can I either add some accessory work somewhere, or should I, add some things to my progression and stuff like that? So I think those are things that would be valuable to start with.
Rambler, this is not Burt's Bees. This is HGR. I don't know if you can buy this anymore. It's the best chapstick ever.
Is that spearmint? Did I see?
Yeah, spearmint CBD.
Oh, you've got a little.
So I get high, get a little high when I exactly.
It's
non-mood and mind altering, guys. Relax. All right, so you want to get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull this thing up. All right, so I've got it sped up just a little bit.
Yep.
But first things first, tell me, what is your game plan as far as scaling is concerned? Like, what are going to be your options? So you said 14 handstand push-ups. I'm assuming based on what I've seen with this, it's kipping handstand push-ups, right?
Yep.
And so what are going to be your scaled options, and what did you plan going into it?
Yeah, my 2 preferred scaled options were, 3 are reducing the volume first.
Okay.
Then going to a box pike strict handstand push-up, or even a pike strict handstand push-up on the floor, and then just a regular push-up. We have a very small number of people who fall into the category of, if they can't do like a box pike strict handstand push-up, maybe I would want them to do dumbbell seated press. Like a lot of the athletes who can't do a handstand push-up and still struggle with the box pike handstand push-up, I think are better served doing regular push-ups, working on body weight strength, because they're just so underdeveloped there. So those were my predominant scales for the handstand push-up.
Okay, cool. All right, so push-ups, bike pike, and then reduce volume against the wall. So I noticed we've got a couple boxes out. We've got people set up. All right, let's watch. I just want to watch this first progression, and then we'll stop and talk about some things in this.
2 guys had never kicked up to the wall before, and I wasn't planning on having this bald guy here. Was brand new, and that was kind of like a little wrench in the old.
Yes,
you're like, okay, I suppose.
Yeah, you've never done this. All right. Yeah. Let's I just want to get through like the first 1 or 2 progression steps, and then we'll chat about it.
For those of you that don't have a strict handstand push-up, I have an alternative list of progressions that you're going to go through, while those learning the handstand push-up are going to do those. So we're going to start, if you don't have a strict handstand push-up, the first progression when I call those kicking up to the wall is going to be a plank hold for 5 seconds, while everyone else does a wall hold for 5 seconds. So for those of you kicking up to the wall, I need you to circle up around the wall so I can demo. Those going to a plank hold, find a position on the floor and stand by for about 30 seconds. Those kicking up to the wall, Dylan, Eris, you guys are going to kick up. Who's not kicking up? Matt, are you not kicking up? Have you kicked up before? Okay. Dina, you're going to kick up.
Like, I love checking in with everybody and like giving the guidance like you did. Hey, you guys, you're definitely kicking up. You're checking in. Have you done this before? Like, ideally, we've worked with everybody and we kind of know where they're at, but there's going to be times where there's not. And so double checking before you just let somebody like Rambo into this thing is a good idea. So I like that.
If you can kick up to the wall, kick up to the wall. Yeah, let's do that. Lisa, Robin, you can kick up to the wall. I don't think so. Okay, you have to, okay, then just a plank hold's fine. See, plank hold. All right, guys, listen up. Chris and Robin, to kick up to the wall, we're going to start with straight arms. Your hands are going to be placed just behind the white line. What I need you guys to focus on are squeezing the triceps as hard as possible. You'll be in a runner's position, so a split stance. You'll push off one foot and swing the other. So what we'll start with is push and swing the other and kick up to the wall. All right, when I say go, we're gonna hold for 5 seconds, then we'll kick back down. Dylan, Eris, you guys, this is the first time doing this? You've done this before? Okay, so what I want you guys to focus on is squeezing the tricep straight. When I say kick up, just push off that leg. You don't have to go all the way up to start. But the most important thing is keeping the arm straight. All right, guys, let's get set. Yep, we're all gonna kick up. So squeeze the triceps as hard as you can. Put one foot up, push one foot up. Which foot are you gonna kick off of? Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Good, and relax. Just do one of those. Triceps need to be straighter.
All right. So I love the fact that you're catering to the people that are new to this thing that you need to see. So you started this off with, I've got alternate progressions, right? If you've got strict handstand push-ups, we're going to do this. If you don't, I'm going to send you to do planks.
And I didn't have them do that. Yeah.
Well, you do have one of them doing it down here.
Right. Well,
2 of them, right?
I meant the new guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to let new people try this.
Right. I just felt like,
yeah,
I felt like you said, I agree. And that's why I wanted them to try it. Just, I don't know if maybe this was the right, with 20 people in class, them just kind of showing up. I don't know if this was the right place. Like maybe it's, hey, after class, we can work on this a little bit. And for now, I want you to follow along with like the regressions. I don't know. Your thoughts?
So here's the way that I like to approach, especially any sort of gymnastics movement, is I want to start with the lowest common denominator. And what I mean by that is I want everybody to be able to participate and play to begin with.
Got it.
And so if I've got either somebody in here that I know can't do this, right, because they're somebody experienced, like that's a regular member that I know can't do this. So maybe like these ladies that are doing the planks there, or I've got somebody brand new. I'm going to start with like the simplest progression step that everybody can do. And because one of your progressions was just doing regular push-ups and you had the progression step with just a plank and then shoulder taps, I think this is a scenario where you could start with everybody doing that.
Got it.
And this also could be done in your general warm-up, and we didn't see your general warm-up, so I don't know if there was any sort of like push-ups or planks or any of that stuff there.
We did 2 rounds of push-ups, 10 squats.
Okay. So you can start to kind of do some of that stuff. But I would consider one, starting in a way that everybody in the class can accomplish it and do it, and then simply progress through that. And we call this like the bus stop method, where it's like, hey, we've got different stops on the bus and we're going to keep moving forward. And at some point you're going to hit your stop, and that's going to be like what you do for the workout. Now,
I like
the
that
challenging
bus stop
part with
method.
that, and especially in something like a handstand push-up, is if like progression step 1 for everybody is a plank, and progression step 2 is a push-up, and then progression step 3 is kick to the handstand, and then somebody can't kick to the handstand, I'm not going to just make them do push-ups the entire time, because they're either going to burn out their push-ups or it just isn't a good experience. So I've still got to get creative on potentially ways to push them past what they're going to do, but at least that can kind of start the process of scaling them.
Yeah.
With me there. Now, one of the other big challenges, well, you tell me you've got a bigger class than you expected. You've got newer athletes, some of them that you don't know. What's the other big challenge? And I think this is somewhat unique to the layout, your gym in general. And our layout was very similar before. Like, what do you think is one of the other challenges in a class like this with handstands?
Just seeing everyone, especially when I have kind of the 2 newer guys all the way on one end. Maybe I should have put them in the center.
Yes. It's like you've got such a long gym that it's going to be really, really hard, especially when you're down here with the 2 new guys, to see the people down at the far end.
Right. Yeah. And I think putting them in the center would have helped that a lot, because I can scan left, scan right quickly and have just a better view rather than missing that whole back corner. The other thing that I really struggle with is when we have a class of people new like this, is I know like there are some advanced athletes on the other side of the gym that have strict and kipping handstand push-ups, but their technique, like there's so much refinement that could happen. And I'm like, oh, it's so I got to coaching one of them during the workout with, they have kind of that frog leg kick, but so
it's too late for that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's great that you got to them, but to your point, so here's something to consider when you have a high skill movement like this, especially based on the layout of your gym, especially based on the number of people that you get, is I think this would have been a great scenario where you partnered people up in either teams of 2 or potentially 3, and then bring them to one area and then have them go in waves. All right, partner 1, step up to the wall. You guys are going to kick up first. Partner 2, now you're going to go. Partner 3, now you're going to go. Yes, you're going to have some people standing around, and you've got a couple options there. One, maybe that's where you're having them doing plank holds and shoulder taps. Like that's one way to keep them somewhat busy. I also feel like, especially with handstands, like kicking into and holding a handstand is challenging enough to where it's like, I need a little bit of a break before I'm going to do my next one, especially if I'm holding people there. So I don't think it's the end of the world. And definitely if you had groups of 2, I think as long as you switch them regularly, I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, this would have been a great spot for partner work, for a partner warm up. Absolutely. Agreed. Then I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I think that would have been your big first thing. And what that allows for, and if I go back just a little bit, I'm trying to think, will you tell me the rest of your progression? And so we'll be able to see it, but I want to talk about that before we keep watching stuff.
Yeah. So basically it's kick to a handstand, then kick to a tripod hold, like a headstand tripod hold, which is the bottom handstand push-up position. I have it right here. Then, so kick to handstand, kick to a bottom tripod. So knees on the elbows, headstand position, butt against the wall. Then you'll kick to a top of handstand and lower to the tripod. And then it's the full handstand push-up.
Okay. All right. So you get them upside down, you go into the tripod, you kick up and lower, and then you do the full thing. Awesome.
Yep.
Now, we've got some athletes that aren't able to do this. We've got these new guys that are struggling to do this. We've got some of the ladies over here, it looks like, that aren't able to do this. If we think about that, how could you change the progression a little bit? So there's a couple things that we're trying to take away when it comes to the handstand push-up. We want people to get inverted, and we want them to be able to press, right? And you've already accounted for people that can't do an inverted press, developing their strength either with regular push-ups or knees or toes on the box during the workout. We still, in an ideal world, would try to get everybody inverted. So potentially, how could you change your progression a little bit to get everybody inverted in a way that, like, pretty much, unless somebody's got an injury, that everybody could feel some sort of inversion?
Yeah, I could have had those people in the plank do like a wall facing hold where they just kick, they kick up to a basic 45-degree wall walk type of hold, which everyone can do. And I could have done that, and then same for the plank shoulder taps, just had them do shoulder taps from that position.
Absolutely. And so if we think of that like progression that starts at the lowest common denominator, obviously we could have started with the plank and progressed to the wall. But even if you wanted to start at the wall like you did here, I would recommend, like, hey, we're going to go through a wall walk progression to get people inverted and let these new guys that have never kicked up to get a little bit more comfortable. And so now we try to get them all the way upside down. So it might, it'll be a couple more progression steps. I think if people are partnered up, you can cycle them through a little bit quicker because you'll have a little bit more time to deliberately work with people. And then, so we wall walk, then potentially we kick up against the wall, and the struggle, I'm going to press play here a little bit again. I want to watch the struggle that we have with these guys. Have you ever tried or seen just even drills where it's like we're not actually kicking up against the wall, but we're just practicing, like figuring out which leg we're going to push off of, and
the bounce, kind of the bouncing, just bouncing up on that.
Yeah. And like gradually just trying to get our feet a little bit higher. And so maybe even you reverted a little bit to that, because these guys probably could have done that. And this could have been something like everybody can gain value in this. And it's like, hey guys, we're going to just start feeling what it's like to kick and feel some pressure on our hands. Here's what I want. You're just going to kick and get your feet off the ground, because that's essentially what they did anyways.
Yep.
And it allows everybody to work together. Let's see.
Yep, we're all going to kick up. So squeeze the triceps as hard as you can. Put one foot up, push one foot up. Which foot are you going to kick?
And you could do this exact thing with everybody, and now they're not so isolated and everybody's still able to work on some things.
Moving together, yep.
Yep.
Cough up. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Good, and relax. Just do one of those.
Now, what I really like that you did here is you stepped to this side, and although he's your focus,
Yeah.
you still have the ability to glance down the wall and check out the majority of everybody else.
Yep.
So, you know, there's a fine line there of like, hey, I'm giving him my attention. But if you knew you were going to grab his feet, it's like you probably can kind of do that without looking. And then you can still look down and give somebody a cue about their ribs or whatever it is.
Triceps need to be straighter. Feet together, Amy. Feet together, Kristen.
And same deal. It's like you're doing a good job of like, yes, they need more attention, but you're not giving them all of the attention. You're still stepping away to look for somebody else, which is great.
Squeeze the abs, Shannon, and kick down. Good job. Okay, we're going to rest for a second. We're going to do that for 2 more reps.
Yeah, this would
So
have
when
been
we
a
do this
great
again,
place
Dylan,
for
I need you to keep the elbows straighter.
This would have been it where it's like, all right, kick down. All right, partner number 2, you step up. Now you're going to go.
And just far easier to see 9 people at a time, which even is a big number rather than 18. 18 was, and we have classes like this all the time. So it's, yeah, I should have just prepared for it.
Yeah, and then you can bring them all down and you can kind of crunch them together, and even those 9 can be done in a way. It's like, hey, this isn't where you're going to do your workout, but for now, we're just going to do it right in this area between these uprights or whatever that is. And I think that is a huge part of this thing, and that makes it way easier, right?
And then just kick a little harder. Air, same thing. Keep the elbows straighter. Ready? And go. So see how the elbows are bending? They got to stay straighter.
Now, you've mentioned this, and I can't tell, how close is that stripe, the line to the wall?
It's 10 inches from the wall. So it's like the wall walk line. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And his hands are behind it?
Yeah.
Like towards us?
No, they're just, yeah. They're behind it, away from
towards
the wall.
us.
Yeah.
Away from
Exactly.
the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
as I'm sure that you
on
know, like most people, when they're brand new to kicking up, the ones that really, really struggle, they get their hands too close to the wall.
Way too close. Yep.
Yep. And they don't have the angle to be able to get there. And so that's one of those things. I know you mentioned it. But that,
And this,
go ahead.
I was going to say, and this guy all the way to the left was doing that. And I caught it later on, and that easy fix for him.
Yeah. And so this is where, like, even if you just did the put your hands on the ground and like the gradual kick up with people closer to you, you could let people put their hands on the ground. And this essentially turns into a static position. This is just like the squat setup or the press grip or whatever it is. And now it's like, all right, guys, I just want you to put your hands on the ground. And then now I can glance down the line and see if their hands are back behind on this side of the tape and make the adjustments if needed. And then it's like, all right, kick up with whatever foot you're going to kick up with. And now you can kind of see, are they kicking up properly? Are their arms staying locked out? And you can start to make those adjustments and hopefully catch it sooner rather than later, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Feet together, Tom. Squeeze the abs, Tom. And come down. Good job. Keep the elbows straight, Robin. All right, Dylan, you ready again? Eris, you ready again? Just kick a little harder. Got to keep.
And I think this is perfect where it's like you're having them go while everybody else takes a break. And I think that's perfectly appropriate. And because there's 3 of them working together, it's not so isolated. If it's one person, it's the one new guy, they might feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, I don't want everybody's eyes on me. But when there's 3 of them, I think this works out pretty well.
Those elbows straight. And go. Kick up. Try again, Dylan. Feet together, Amy. Squeeze the butt. Squeeze the abs. And come down. All right.
Let me, in addition, like these guys that are struggling, a lot of it is just feeling comfort and stuff like that. You're doing a good job of cueing, like squeeze the butt, squeeze the abs. What's another thing that athletes need to do that they typically mess up when they're upside down? And in fact, these ladies can do a little bit more of it.
Looking straight at their hands instead of bringing the head through.
Yeah. So make sure that we're looking for that. And I think these guys that are kicking up, this isn't the full sole reason, but you've probably seen it before. It's like these guys are looking at their hands or looking at their walls and they're trying to get their feet up there. And there's like no way that that's going to happen. Yeah. So potentially cueing them to look at the wall behind you or to find a target back there, or maybe look at these boxes or you look at your sandbag, something like that might be something to help give them a little bit more guidance as well.
Calm down. All right, good job. Okay, the next progression we're gonna do, we're gonna kick up to a tripod position. This is gonna be the bottom of the handstand push-up so we can feel that position. I want you guys to circle up so I can show you. Bring it in. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, when we kick up to the tripod, we're gonna
obviously having them paired up and having them in one area is gonna make it easier for this, like for them to group up. And even when I can like just feel the stress that you're feeling of like, I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot of people and I'm speeding this up, right? I'm playing this at 1.25 speed. So this is faster than you're actually talking. But you can feel that, right? Of like the stress. And I know that I've felt it as a coach of like, I got a lot of shit to do. What's happening here? Let me get through this. Don't be afraid, especially with these new guys, of like, you need them to be able to see what you're doing. And if you jump into this demo without people getting over close to you, you're kind of missing an opportunity to help them out there.
Yeah.
So even though you're trying to, like, this is one of those like smooth as fast, be slow enough to where it's like, hey, no, John, I need you down here. Get over here. I need you to look at this thing. And don't be afraid to take that extra second to do so. Because I think that'll be important for these guys. All right.
Start with our elbows on our knees. Hands are going to be just forward of the white line. And I'm going to kick up just like this. And we'll hold for 5 seconds and then come down. It's just the bottom of a handstand push-up. Well, you're going to try. All right, guys. Dylan.
Now I'm going to say, like, this progression step is a cool progression step. And even the people that can't get upside down, even your gals that are doing the planks over here, for the most part, this is something that everybody can take part in and try. Correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So thinking through that, and if you're like deciding how to go about your progression, if you knew that you had people that hadn't kicked up against the wall, and you wanted everybody to move together, this could actually have been like an earlier step or your first step against the wall. Because now, once again, it's like, hey, everybody can probably do this. And you can walk them through a little bit quicker. Hey, put your hands here. I check their hands. All right, now walk your feet closer and try to put your knees onto your elbows. Awesome. Now try to rock forward to get, keep your weight on your hands, but to get your head on the ground and your butt against the wall or whatever that is. And this is one, like that frog position is something that most everybody can do. And then this, once again, gives some of these new guys the feeling of what it's like to be upside down, have weight in their hands, and go from there. So I might move this progression step up as you do this.
Got it.
Yep.
Eris, you're going to start with the first thing we were just doing and continue to practice that. Try this. Oh, you're not doing handstand push-ups for the workout? Then for now, those of you not doing handstand push-ups, Lisa, Roberta, Dina, Matt, 10 plank shoulder taps. I want you to avoid rocking to the hips. Ready, go. Butt should be on the wall, butt on the wall, low back on the wall. And come down. All right, relax, relax, relax. Come down, come down. Hey, we're going to do this a few more times. Guys, when we go to the wall, your low back and butt need to touch the wall. All right, you guys ready to go again? You need a head pad, Court. Right. All right, I'm going to support you this time, but I need this as straight as you can get it. So try hands a little wider.
And I think you can just go through a little bit slower to I mentioned it before, just make sure everybody's hands where they want to be, make sure everybody's knees are where they need to be, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys, ready? You ready, Haley? And go.
Like that little thing right there. Like that is so big for you to be down here, essentially doing a one-on-one with this guy, but to have the presence of mind to step back, point and say Haley's name, which is down at the other end, that just creates awareness to everybody in the class. Like, oh crap, he's still watching. So that's big, especially in a class like this, especially with as much stuff going on. It's like that little thing can keep everybody engaged, and it allows you to make sure that you're scanning and they know that's the case. So that's awesome.
Feet together, push through the wall, elbow straight. All right, now I'm going to come down nice and slow. Good, and relax. And come down, good job. So next time, I don't want you to walk your hands forward, keep them back of the line. And got to keep the elbows way straighter. You felt how they bent when you went up? You got to keep them straight.
Here's a point
we're gonna go
where
one more time.
I found myself saying that same cue, and it was like the one where you just keep saying it louder and louder and louder, expecting it to work.
Right.
And maybe I need to tell him to squeeze the triceps, or I don't know. I don't know what
I don't know. Like, I don't know that this one is like a cue thing. Like if you would have changed your cue, that this fixes it. I think this is more of one of those things of like, this guy's trying to do something that he's not done in a long time, or maybe ever. It's extremely challenging. And his brain, like when somebody's kicking upside down, I have a feeling the last thing that they are thinking about is what their arms and elbows are doing.
Right.
You know, it's more so like, where are my feet going? Oh my gosh, am I going to land on my head? Like, what's happening right there? So I don't know it was that. I think if anything, it would just be like getting him to feel that position before he kicks up and do just like progressing the kick up in a slightly different way, potentially.
Right.
You know, or even realizing that he can't do that and then running over here and being like, hey, come over to the box real quick. Here's what I want. Toes on the box, starting a plank, walk your hands closer to the box. Now you can cue him because he's not thinking about his feet going up. Be like, all right, now squeeze your triceps or lock your elbows or press into the ground. And now you can go, hey, do you feel that with your arms? And because his senses aren't so overwhelmed about getting up against the wall, potentially he can. And then maybe you can take that feeling and move it to the wall. Now, this is a challenging thing to do when you're managing 18 other people and all this kind of stuff, because you're pulling them one off. But that also is why there's value in slowly progressing the progression a little bit differently, in a way that kind of builds and builds and builds up to the kick against the wall, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In the tripod position. I'm going to assist you this time, Maris. Elbows got to stay straight. Ready, and go. Kick. Feet together, feet together, feet together, feet together. Nope, don't walk the hands. Feet together.
Too late.
There. And come down. All right, slow, slow, slow. Good. All right, guys, next one. We're going to kick up to a...
It's so wild what a crazy position that is for people, and like things that they do when they're there.
Right. I'm like, why are you handstand walking, bro?
Yeah, what are you doing?
And
it's
funny.
The feeling of the body, like the feet. It's just like when people are trying to learn how to handstand walk, where your feet actually have to fall past your head a little bit. That is so uncomfortable. And even though he like knows the wall's there, he doesn't feel comfortable. So he's walking his hands to try to keep his feet in the other direction.
Handstand, those of you practicing handstand push-ups, and then we're gonna lower to that tripod position. So this is gonna practice kicking up to the support position, lowering to the bottom of the handstand push-up, then we'll come down. So what it's gonna look like, you'll kick up, you'll lower nice and slow until your head touches, then you'll allow your butt and back to touch the wall, then we'll kick down, okay? We're gonna do 3 of these.
It's okay if you do a frog style.
Yeah, that's fine, but practice this here. All right, you guys.
What we've talked about this in some of the previous weeks. When we're giving a teaching or a progression step, we always want to kind of add not only how to do it, which you did there, but also something to focus on and think about. And so with that step, doing the negative of a handstand, what would you say is the thing to focus on? And usually this is built around either the mechanics of what we need to go right or what you commonly see go wrong. What would you say that is?
I suppose one thing to focus on in lowering and then touching the ground with your head is a lot of people rest too much weight into their neck. So thinking about spreading the weight evenly between the hands and the head, or pressing through the floor with the hands, even as your head touches.
Yep. I think that's huge. And we'll see that later on, as like a lot of athletes, when they start doing the handstand push-ups, it's crazy that they take their hands off the ground to like adjust their hands for whatever. Right. So yes, so you can cue, hey, I want you pressing aggressively through the hand. Most of the weight should feel in your hands, even though your head's on the ground. And then what are the mechanics we're looking for? Like, how do we do this correctly?
Pushing the elbows forward, I suppose, on the way down.
Yep. And where does the head go?
Towards the wall.
Right. And so that's the proper mechanics. What do we know most people are going to do wrong?
Elbows out and head right in between the hands. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a good place, like teach it the exact way that you did, but now it's like, all right, here's what you guys are thinking about. As you're lowering yourself down, I want you to think head towards the wall.
Okay.
And then once I'm down, I want you guys, as you're bringing your knees towards your elbows or whatever, I want all of the pressure still in your hands. Still press it through your hands as much as you can. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be too detailed. But that does 2 things. Number one, it gives them something to think about. Okay, I'm thinking about head going towards the wall. And then number 2, it's you verbally reminding yourself what you need to be looking for. and what's going to go wrong. It's like, if I don't say that, sometimes I get caught up by looking at something else, especially when there's a class like this where there's all kinds of weird things happening. I'm going to get distracted by the new athlete or the guy who's, you know, moving his hands as he's kicking to the thing. Whereas if I say it out loud, hey, take your head to the wall, that's going to remind me to look to make sure that everybody's doing that. All right.
Ready? We're going to stay practicing the kick up. Eris, don't walk your hands forward. They got to stay back of the line.
That's
ready and go.
Really good just to remind him, heck yeah, it's like, all right, I took note of that. That's his tendency. I'm going to remind him.
3 reps. Yep. Try hands a little wider, Robin. Try hands a little wider, yeah. Nice, Amy. Hey, that's good. Take your time, guys. Rest between attempts. Swing the leg a little harder, Court. There you go, feet together. Nice. Good, Tom. Hey, Eris, that was okay. Hands a little wider and come a little further away from the wall. Shannon, you got to practice that?
Well, I'm going to try to see if I can.
This is probably a play, like you're giving these guys cues. Like this is, I think any coach on here that's ever taught this movement, try to get somebody brand new upside down, has experienced this exact thing. Not only do we want to give people guidance, tools to actually get there, but I think a big part of what we should be working on doing is giving them confidence wherever they're at. And so like what just happened with those guys kicking up 2 or 3 times, you gave them a couple cues, and I know you're going to talk to somebody else, but taking the opportunity to like relate with them, give them some empathy and be like, man, you got up one time. That was awesome. Your kick ups are getting so much better. Do you feel how you're keeping your arms locked? Like whatever it is that you can give these guys some nuggets of like, all right, this isn't a complete shit show.
Right.
I'm making some progress. And so I feel like a lot of times, especially with new people, you know, this guy's a big muscular guy. I'm sure there's some pride and ego that comes with this thing. It's like, how can I make him feel pretty good about what he's doing? So he doesn't just get super frustrated and disappointed with this. So just something to consider as we're going through that.
Okay. Keep those feet together and the knees straight, Tom. All right, guys, next, we're going to practice 3 full handstand push-ups for those of you doing them in the workout. So you'll lower, head touches the ground, tuck the knees in. Then it's like an upside down push press. You're going to extend the hips, then press. So what it looks like, we'll kick up, lower, butt on the wall, kick and press. We're just going to do 3 singles. Those of you guys warming up right now, I need you to set up the station for what you're going to do for the workout. We'll do 3 reps of what you're going to do for the workout. All right, ready? 3 reps and go. Hands a little further away from the wall, Amy, to give you a little more balance. So you lean a little more.
Good catch with that one, right? She came off of the wall because she was too close. That's awesome.
Yep.
This guy's
that's much better, Eris.
Yeah.
Hands a little wider, just a little bit wider. All right, now turn your thumbs towards the wall more. Nice. There. All right, now let's kick up a little harder. That's it. Whoa.
Now it's like, all right, he's getting close. What's the final component? Why is he losing his balance up there?
I think in that point he is staring right in between his hands.
Yes.
And it's just so
this is one like where the next cue for him, I think, is like feet together. Yes, keep your arms locked. But now as soon as he starts to kick, I'd be like, hey, look at me. You know, try to look through your arms, because his shoulder staying closed, I think, is a limiting fact for him. He's really, really close. Our other guy's still not quite there as close.
Take your time. You're good, man. Head through. Look at the opposite wall once you kick through. So look at the back wall.
That's awesome.
Push, push, push. Elbow straight. Elbow straight. Now come down. All right. So look, when you're overhead, you're like this.
Nice.
You need to be like that. So looking that way. Yeah. So put your arms overhead now. Just put them overhead. Now look through. That's the position you need to feel.
I mean, look at my risers. That's like 5.
All right. So see how these elbows are bent? Yeah. Got to be straight. Fully straight. What?
It's so hard.
Straight.
Shoulder mobility. Yeah. Hey, so let's try this, Dylan. Let's turn around, face the wall, face the opposite wall. I'm gonna have you start on your stomach.
This is probably what I just should have had.
And when I say go,
you're
you're just gonna kick a foot.
Yes. I like you're seeing all of it. Like it's like you're getting to all of this stuff, and this should be like just take whenever you're coaching class and you're like, if I had to regress to this after I've already taught everything, maybe I should have started here. Yeah. And not only with like potentially, and you could do this with them, right? You could do this one off if you knew everybody else in class did it. But like I said, it's like I usually will try to like let everybody do the same thing, just depending on how nervous the new person is. I try not to let them feel isolated by doing something different. So there's no absolutes in much of any of this stuff, but that's just something to consider. All right.
Put up and hold this position. Knees lower, Amy. There you go. Good, Dylan. That's better. Elbow straight. Push to the floor and head through. There you go. All right. Okay, guys. We're going to move on to the sandbag for now. We're going to work on the sandbag.
So I think a couple big things with the complex gymnastic portion of this.
Yep.
One is going to be try to limit the number of people that you see. So turn this into groups.
Partner. Yep.
Partners, teams of 3 or 2, depending on what it is, how much space, and then bring them all together and then try to manage the group in a way to where you can see more of what's going on and they can see you when you're doing your teaching and your demonstration. It's like, make sure that actually happens. When I'm going to demonstrate, I need you guys around watching me and paying attention for the most part.
Yep.
Second thing is keep working on like your progressions in general of like, all right, a challenging high skill gymnastics movement. Can I progress from the lowest possible version of this thing towards the most complex, towards the movement itself in a way that one kind of mimics the movement pattern? This is what we talked about with the snatch last time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
provides some of my potential scaling options along the way, like somebody's getting off the bus stop. A couple of things that we didn't mention is do you know who Carl Paoli is?
Yep.
Trained with
Paradiso, right?
No, it was Kelly Starrett. He was out at San Francisco CrossFit.
Oh, okay.
And
Gosh,
so
why do I think that? Anyways.
He's got some really cool video. Like he was one of the first guys that was putting out like complex gymnastics progressions.
Yep. And
in a really cool way. And one of his kipping handstand push-up progressions, he starts with people in that frog tripod position. And then before he has them kip against the wall, he actually has them from that tripod kip into a plank. So it's still the same mechanics. It's still legs then arms. But now instead of kicking up against the wall, you're just throwing your feet out and then you're landing in a plank. And like based on who you had in this class here, that potentially could have been a cool way to be like, all right, we're going to do kipping handstand push-ups, but we're going to start with progressions or with the tripod. Then we're going to kip out into a plank. And then we're going to use that to kip against the wall if you feel comfortable. If not, we're going to keep doing this. And I'll send you the video afterwards of like his progression stuff, but it's pretty cool. And it allows everybody to play along. It still teaches the mechanics that we're trying to teach, but it does so in a way that's going to be appropriate for most people. And then what that'll allow for is when the workout comes, even the people that aren't doing the handstands against the wall or the handstand push-ups, the ones that you're having do regular push-ups or even bike or box push-ups. One of the things that I've really gotten reinforced from talking with Pamela Gagnon quite a bit recently is like, the fun part of this thing is getting upside down. So even in a workout, if I'm going to have somebody do regular push-ups, if they have the ability to kick up and hold a handstand as part of their thing, either at the beginning of their handstand set or at the end, or if it's a wall walk, or if it's the frog pose or whatever that is, I think there'd be some value in maybe lessening the volume of regular push-ups and giving them like 10 seconds, 15 seconds worth of some version of inversion, if that's possible. If it's not possible, we all have athletes that are like that, but I think that's a cool way to just start to get them more comfortable and let them have the quote unquote fun of being upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think I probably just could have left out any sort of detailed progression for the sandbag complex in terms of a specific warm-up and just covered it a bit more in the general warm-up and focused entirely on the handstand push-up. I think I was trying to do too much by including that as well.
Yeah, making too much of a progression. Because I agree with you. We'll watch some of this and we can chat about it quickly. But I think to your point, the sandbag, like there's not the same sort of points of performance as the clean of anything else. It's really just, can I get you in a decent setup position so you deadlift all right? And then once the bag's on your shoulders, can I make sure that you're squatting correctly by sending your hips back and your feet are where they need to be? And beyond that, there's not much else there. Now,
and I it's almost an afterthought at this point anyways. And we'll see that in the way that I teach it. But
yeah. Yep. The final thing that I'll say, and we kind of felt this right here, like you're working with these guys to get upside down. You've told everybody else to do 3 reps. There's some people that are just kind of drifting around. This potentially could be a place where, especially if you have partners, it could work really, really well where you're like, all right, athlete 1, go and do your 3 reps. And now you check in with athlete number 2 to do some of the scaling with them. And then you rotate. Right. And or you do some sort of test to guide what their scaling is going to be. Hey guys, I want to see if you can give me a set of 5, or like do as many reps as you can do in 20 seconds. If you get 5, you can do the workout RX. If you only get 3, we're going to do either 10 to 12 reps. You know, for those of you guys that aren't doing it against the wall, we're going to do push-ups. I want you to do a max unbroken set. If you can get, you know, more than 10, then you're going to do X number. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. 1, I'm going to keep people occupied as I'm doing some of these additional things so they don't start wandering off. And then number 2, I'm potentially going to help guide the scaling by giving them a test based on the capacity that they have for that movement.
Yep.
Yeah. And those examples I gave probably aren't great examples. I was just spitballing off the top of my head.
No, but some thought into that and coming up with, yeah, for sure.
Something that relates to it, right? All right, so you transition to the sandbag clean here. So let's look at that.
Complex, then we'll get squared away for the workout. Okay, on our sandbags. I need everybody on your sandbag for the workout. Is that 50 for the warm-up or the 30 for the warm?
I was going to try to put my head to that.
Okay, can I use it to demo? Okay. All right, guys, here's what we're going to begin with. We're going to start with 5 sandbag deadlifts. The sandbag's going to be even with your shoelaces. Your feet should be outside of the sandbag, hand on either side, and you're just going to stand and deadlift the bag 5 times. I want you to focus on keeping the back straight and the weight in your heels. So let's go 5 reps.
And this is what I just talked about a couple minutes ago, right? You're giving them exactly what you want them to think about. Back flat, weight in the heels. This is great. The only thing with this.
Good, Robin.
Is at least for the very first rep or maybe the first 2, I would probably get them in their setup position and hold them for a split second so you can see what's going on. Right? You told them what you want, but you know, especially our new guy right here, you see what's going on. His hips are a little bit lower than you want him to be. His chest isn't as upright as you want it to be. Our guy here is even wider than he needs to be. So it's like, even though you're trying to make up time by going, hey, give me 5 reps, that's fine. But at least for the first one, hold the setup position. And then when I say go, give me 5.
Got it.
Yeah. Just so you get eyes on and make sure everybody's where they need to be.
Good, Court. Chest up a little more in the bottom. And air swatch, instead of squatting, think butt back.
There we go.
That's better. Good, Dylan. 5 reps here, 5 reps. Okay, next, we're gonna take the sandbag to the shoulder, and we're gonna do 3 squats on one shoulder, then we'll drop the bag, we'll do 3 squats on the other shoulder. So let's get the sandbag up to the shoulder. All right, 3.
And so you took the pause here, which is great. Guess what I'm gonna tell you to do? Before you tell them to go, what should you do right now?
Just adjust their setup position in terms of the squat or their foot. Yeah.
Puts, like our guy here who's brand new, I'm sure he'll move them when they squat, because he'll start to squat like this and he'll be like, that doesn't feel good, and he'll naturally move. But our gal here is close. Even she's got long legs. She's probably close. And like we've seen in other videos, it's like most people are going to be too close. So get it to your shoulders, guys. Hold for just a second. This doesn't have to be long. Your eye is good enough, and you're good enough to get people where they want them to be so quickly that's like, just scan, double check the stuff, get your feet there. All right, guys, now give me 3 reps, drop it. Maybe you do it the next time when they bring it up again. All right, check your feet. Sweet. You double check the 2 people that you fixed. Give me 3 more, and then you can move on from there. It doesn't have to be long and dramatic, but checking those static positions in a movement like this are going to be important.
Squats on your own. Ready, go. 3 squats. Stay in the heels, Dylan. Sit back into the heels. There you go, and push the knees out. Guys, we're going to go 70 pounds for the workout. Yeah. Go grab a blue sandbag for now. Go grab a blue sandbag.
What was this guy doing? Did you notice?
Which guy?
This one here. Watch his squat.
All right, 3 squats on your own. Ready, go. 3 squats. Stay in the heels, Dylan. Sit back into the heels.
Forward squat.
There you go, and push the knees out.
Forward instead of sitting the hips back.
Yep.
Guys, we're going to go 70 pounds for the.
And this is going to be like, this is a movement similar to an overhead squat where your body's going to inherently know that the more upright your chest is, the more efficient this is going to be. And so most people are probably going to initiate with their knees. And so that would be one of the main things I'd be looking for as they're going through this.
The workout. Yeah. Go grab a blue sandbag for now. Go grab a blue sandbag to 70. Once you got 3 on the right side, let's get 3 on the left. Shannon, feet got to be a little wider so you can push your knees out.
And that could have been fixed.
How does that feel?
In the static position, setting that up first.
Yep. Yeah.
Good, Kristen. Stay back in those heels, Haley. Robin, same thing. Stay in the heels on the way down. Slower, Dylan, on the way down. Take your time. All right, guys. Now we're going to practice a complex on each shoulder. We're just going to do 1 clean plus 1 squat. To clean the sandbag to the shoulder, what we're going to practice, after you've performed that deadlift, you can stop at the hip, extend the hips, and then receive the bag on the shoulders. It's just like a barbell power clean. I want you guys to think about jumping with the legs and then receiving the bag in a quarter squat. I'm going to demo with this sandbag. So the bag will start on the ground. We'll get each hand under, bring to the hips, and then extend the hips and receive. Once you clean 1 time, we'll do 1 squat, and then we'll drop it and do the other side. All right, let's go. Try to receive the bag in a quarter squat on the next one, Olivia. So just jump and receive, just like a power clean. That's better. And then try to get it more on the shoulder.
Here we go.
Hey, for the workout, let's do 7 cleans with the sandbag and then 7 squats to a target without the sandbag. So we'll squat without the sandbag. That way you can.
Now, I love this scaling, and you pretty much go through doing that the rest of the way here. And like the route that you're going, our new guy, he did the cleans, but he's doing air squats, which I think is awesome. Yep. You hit that with a couple people, and we'll watch just a little bit. I think this is one thing that I notice a lot of coaches don't do. It's like coaches say what the scaling options are. They tell athletes, hey, this is your options. And then we leave it up to them to choose that stuff. What I love is that you go around to pretty much everybody in class and you check in with them. You give them guidance, which is huge. Here's the tricky part of this is like, how can we do that in a way that doesn't lead to too much downtime?
Yeah, it needs to start sooner. Yeah, it just needs to start sooner.
Yeah, and we talked about this, like you can do that in the general warm-up, right? Is one place to do it. Before class is it. Some of these workouts, like it's not going to be perfect. So I don't want to make it sound like it's able to be done seamlessly in a workout like that. This is one that is going to be slower, but it's like, can we do it in the general warm-up a little bit? Can we figure out how to get some of it done in the progression of the handstand push-up? And can I kill other time giving people something to do while I do this so it doesn't feel like downtime?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's exactly right. And I think in a lot of workouts, I'm really comfortable nailing this stuff and like getting it pinned down in the general warm up. And in this class, I was already so, I don't know, use the word stress for lack of a better term about doing the specific warm up right for the handstand push up and then going into the sandbag clean. Like that's all I was thinking about. And I missed so many opportunities in the general warm up to just get this. And I wasn't even thinking about it. Whereas in another class, by the time I got here, everybody would know what they're doing. So just for sure, easy way to do that.
Yeah. And it's so funny because when you know your progression, you're very comfortable on what you're going to teach, what you're going to be looking for, what your corrections are going to be. You're comfortable with your athletes. It's like you have the mental bandwidth and capacity to now use your brain to scale earlier or to do other things. In a workout like this, where all of your mental resources, as you were just describing, are going to the progression you're going to use for both of these, it's like you can't even like step back to think about doing this stuff somewhere else. And I like, that's why this skill number one, it never gets mastered because you can always get better at this thing. And then number 2, it's like the amount of reps that you get and do are going to be critical. The amount of pre-work that you do with the lesson plan. And I love the fact that you had the lesson plan. And then the final piece is like when we run classes like this, and you said you felt like this was a dumpster fire or whatever, however you said that. And I like, yes, there's things to work on, but I do think this is a solid class for these movements and this many people. But then there needs to be the evaluation at the end of this of, all right, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Not just like, all right, I made it through. Cool. Like next time, if you don't spend the time thinking about how it can be done different, not many coaches get feedback like you're getting here. Right. So we've got to be able to self-reflect. All right. I'm going to push play. We're going to watch just a little bit as you're going around to talk to people. And then I'm going to talk about maybe some ideas on how we could have cleaned up the downtime here.
Go lower. Range of motion first, then weight.
Okay.
What are you thinking for the workout? How many? 10 handstand push-ups? 5?
Probably, 10 and 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's great.
I mean, I never was.
Yeah.
And that's such a cool way to do it with clearly that guy's a more experienced athlete. You're asking him his opinion and now you can green light it. So it's like you're empowering them to make the decision rather than you just simply telling them.
On the cleans, yep.
I'll try to do these to that target.
To the ball, okay. Okay, 14 regular push-ups. You could also do 4 of these and then 10 full push-ups.
Okay. So,
Each round, 4 and 10.
So I will get stuck on the push-ups if I have to do that many. That's a real weakness for me.
Then I think scrap these and just do 10 regular push-ups.
Regular push-ups?
Yeah, because getting regular push-ups is what gets you a handstand push-up too.
Okay.
100%. And then for the sandbag cleans, how many do you think? 5 complexes?
Yeah.
Okay, 10 and 5 I think is good.
Okay.
Lisa, what are you thinking? What are you gonna do? You're gonna do push-ups assisted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yep. So this is great. So you're getting around to people, you're asking them questions, the ones that need more guidance, you're telling them what you think you should do, which is exactly what we want to see with that. Now, how could we make this not feel like as much downtime for the people that are waiting for you to get to them? A couple of things that I think about based on what we said before. Potentially, if you had done this to where you partnered people up for the handstand push-up, let's say maybe what you did was you used the wall space right down here and you partnered people up and we did our handstands here. And then you had all of the sandbags down on this other side of the gym. And you taught the progression there and you did that. Then right after you finish that progression, you could be like, all right, here's what I need from you guys now. Move your find a spot against the wall, move your sandbag, next to the wall that you're going to use and give me a practice round. Or whatever it is to where like they're moving and they have tasks in front of them. So they're not just standing around. Logistically, it already sets them up as well. You can offer the bathroom break here as well, which I think most people did that. So just a couple ways to think through like, all right, how can I make them do something and keep them moving as I know my job is to get around and check in with everybody, but I don't want them just standing there.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate you submitting this one. This was a cool class, a really cool workout to do this with. Sandbag cleans are not something that I think a lot of times we get a chance to coach at a lot of gyms. A lot of gyms don't have them. And so there's not a lot of feedback for that oftentimes. I think I gave you the takeaways on the handstand stuff. Consider the progression. Think about how to do it and see and correct less people, which is with potential partners and teams. Use the bus stop method to get there.
Yep.
And then with the sandbag stuff, keep working the static positions.
Yep.
Like double check all of that stuff each and every time.
So I have all that. I have partner warm-ups to help class size, bus stop progressions and regressions starting at the lowest common denominator. Apply the workout sooner to eliminate downtime, hold static and setup positions. Check.
Yep.
Check. And then I have handstand push-ups only here, not some elaborate specific one for the sandbag. I mean, you mentioned the sandbag being rare, and that's why I wanted to include it, because what sandbag cleans is a movement that I'm really good at because I've approached and with the D-ball too. And that's because I've approached it like a barbell where there can be more technique and efficiency and refinement to the movement that a lot of people teach. And so like, I want to do that, but here the bottom line is trying to do everything in one class isn't going to work. And the handstand push-up is more important and harder. And more people want to learn that. And more people will be safer learning that in the warm up and practicing rather than the sandbag. So
yeah, I completely agree with that. It's like, I do think you're right. Like the sandbag clean is something cool and you can add some real value there, but it depends on the day. Like if it's sandbag cleans and running, well, then clearly you have more time for that.
Yes.
Now, the other consideration would be like, these are movements that you could have probably eliminated your general. If you wanted to teach both more so and just needed more time to do it, you could use a lot of this stuff or your progressions here as your general and your specific.
Yeah.
And I've also seen, and we'll do it sometimes, where you kind of go back and forth, where it's like, all right, guys, we're going to start by doing some wall walks to feel what it's like to get upside down. So you're going to have them do that, and you can coach group 1 through that, then group 2 through that. All right, now walk over to your med ball. Or your sandbag. I'm going to have you do some deadlifts. So let's get in our setup. I'm going to say go. All right, give me 5 more. Cool. Let's go back over to the wall. And now you kind of ping pong back and forth, but you're able to, that can work as a general warm up, and you spend a little bit more time on both sides of that too. Like, there's so many different ways to do it, but based on how you did do this class, I do think your point is right on, is like the handstand push-ups, the more technical, spend your time there, and then just kind of cover the basics on this day with the other one. Yep.
Awesome. Guys, thanks for watching. And crucial thing here, and this might sound like common sense, but actually a lot of people don't consider, and that is what we're going over here is the product that you're selling at your affiliate. This is if you're the convenience store, this is your candy bar. Like, this is what people are coming in to buy. And the only way you're going to get better at it is by learning from people that are better than you. There are a lot of neat little philosophical books out there about finding someone to learn from, finding someone to compete with, and finding someone to teach. And I feel like not enough people, especially in the CrossFit coaching space, have mentors to learn from. So if you want one of those, the Knowledge Pro.
That's it.
Best hour of the day. Check. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, not only do we have a bunch of video content, we've got lessons that go over all of this stuff, and homework that you guys can work on, and calls where you can bring and get feedback on that stuff. But we also, you can sign up and do this here. We call it the Coach's Eye. You can sign up for 30-minute sessions, for 60-minute sessions. You can get Kristen, myself, Brittany, people from our team to give you feedback on your classes and do this exact same thing. So all that stuff's besthouroftheirday.com/the knowledge. So check it out.
That's sick. And you can just try like a 30-minute session and a 60-minute session, just one off.
Yep.
Awesome. Wow. That's crazy. You can't, I mean, seriously, from level 4 trainers that are flow masters on CrossFit seminar stuff, these are the people that are in the videos of CrossFit.com's courses. Like, this is the guy right here, Todd. So this is the chicken at Chick-fil-A. Okay.
That's it.
Thanks, Cross. That's a good metaphor. Justin Zumbo, Taylor, how often are you coaching classes? I coach a class a day. And probably will be coaching a bit more going forward. You seem pretty busy with Sentinel and everything else you do. Yeah, I'm a busy man, dude. I'm a hard worker, though, dude. I'm the hardest worker you'll ever meet. So thanks, Justin.
Love it.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you next week. Kristen and Bryson will be up, and maybe his class will be worse than mine, so you guys can get even more knowledge and learn from it. So we'll see.
The Knowledge Pro is Best Hour's premier coaching development platform. Built for CrossFit coaches who want to be world-class. It contains a full curriculum complete with 26 engaging lessons, live calls, an on-demand video library, one-on-one feedback sessions, and personalized feedback on your coaching. This is professional development, not content, not random, specific, deliberate, and curated to take you from good to great and beyond. The Knowledge Pro, building world-class coaches. Sign up and claim your free 14-day trial at besthouroftheirday.com/the knowledge.